Welcome everyone to the Hot Tag Hooligans Wrestling Podcast Show with myself, Aaron, and Tom. Back in December, Tom and I went to Jeffersonville, Indiana, and we were able to be at Cosmic Christmas of Billy Starks. And one of the people on the show that really impressed me and Tom, and it was our first time ever seeing them live, was our guest tonight. It's Sawyer Wreck. How's it going?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Good. So I want to start right there at that show. And for everyone who does not know, yourself teamed with KiLynn King, the Overreactors, which is a fantastic name.
Thank you.
And you wrestled the Rejects. And when that match was announced, because Billy put on the show, I remember me and Tom kind of like, it's a different main event, because you had Billy versus Effie and you had some AEW talent there. But I'm going to tell you what, we came out of that show and was like, that match kicked ass. Like, it was great. Like, it was everything I could have ever thought it could have been. And it wasn't because of who was involved in the match. It was just the matchup styles. I didn't see it clicking in my mind. But once it played out, it was fantastic. So let's talk about that matchup. What were your opinions of that match?
Oh man, that's one of my favorite matches that I've had so far. I mean, the Rejects are some of my favorite people on the planet, and as is KiLynn King. So when Billy hit me up about that, I was like, it was Christmas, literally. But it was such a cool moment in my career to be able to have a match with John and Reed, who are men that I've looked up to, obviously. And they just pushed us hard, and we met it, and it was just one of the most fun matches I can think of.
Now, they may have pushed you hard, but you absolutely punched them harder. and that's one thing I loved about the match, the brutality of it. And I understand. Some of the death match and some of the hardcore match still aren't for a lot of people in pro wrestling, but I feel like that there's a place for it when it's done right. And that match was done right.
Thank you.
So talking a little bit more about that match and some of the, not to get into like the details of the different spots and things,
let's do it.
But I'm telling you, when those doors came out, and I don't know if anyone has been, if you haven't been to a show where they've used doors, you can pretty well picture getting hit with the door, what it would be like. But I'm telling you, that place went absolutely nuts. And it was one of the craziest things I've seen live. And it's not even that, I've seen some crazier deathmatch type stuff. It wasn't even about that. It was just the conviction that you and KiLynn both had when you were trying to execute moves with the door, that I thought was just a standout spot over and over again. And it was a big hit for the whole crowd. Talk a little bit about using doors in matches, how you feel about that.
Oh, well, those ones, about 10 minutes before we were going out, we were looking at all of the stuff back there, and we had this moment about looking at these doors that we realized that the doorknobs were still on, which, some of those spots would suck a lot more if you were getting flipped right onto that guy. So I, really love obviously using weapons in my matches. I think that they add another level. It's just so fun. But doors I don't usually play around with because they're pretty they'll fuck someone up. But that match, having KiLynn next to me and getting to overreact with her, get some of that very valid rage that comes from thy ovaries and thy uterus. It was really fun to be able to like take that out. And I don't know, the door may have been a misplaced anger type situation. I had it and it just flew out.
Now let's talk about KiLynn real quick and your relationship with her. Both of y'all both started off around the Team 3D Academy. Is that correct?
Big fact, yes.
And the bond kind of came. And the one thing about you two is in a way, you are both one and the same. You're both taller women. You're both very strong women, but your in-ring work, where a few years back people would have just booked you two as monsters, and now you two are able to show your skill set in wrestling matches. How did the team Overreactors actually come together?
So that goes back about 4 or 5 years ago when we were training at 3D. We are very similar in a lot of ways. And so we immediately just connected. And so we would train together, go to the gym, go to training, go hang out afterwards. And so when we started in advanced class, we started doing, just understanding psychology, and we have a lot of matches together, and we got paired together a lot for teaming and tagging. And it was just, the most educational matches I had from those training days were ones where I had her with me, where we just got the best feedback. We had Devon and Bubba talking to us, and Billy Gunn and Serpentico. So we had all of these like tag team geniuses helping form this like seedling of a tag. And, we had our careers kind of split a little bit. I went more towards deathmatch, and, she had that awesome stint in AEW, and she was killing it. And so because in the beginning, we had a lot of matches against each other booked as monsters. I just saw something in my memories from 2 years ago where we had 2 matches at different promotions in the same weekend against each other. Like that was the type of, we would go out and work together. So fast forward when Billy was like, hey, would you guys want to come over here and tag? Me and KiLynn just like looked at each other and we were like, yeah, it's happening. It's happening. And so we took that as okay, now it's time to get this together because we know we have something good. And so now we're traveling and we're tagging together.
And it's great. KiLynn and I, we talked a few weeks back, and one thing that she kind of discussed with me about the time at Team 3D Academy was specifically getting that training from the people that you mentioned, the Billy Gunns, the Dudleys, Serpentico, where a lot of other people, locally where we are, and there's nothing against any promotions, they don't have that type of lineup there to bring them into the fold. And the one thing Bubba Ray Dudley always says is, you want to be successful in the business, learn from someone who's successful in the business, who has been successful in the business. Because not only will they teach you the ins and outs of the professional world of it, but they'll show you the actual business side of it as well, how to finance your money, how to balance your life along with it. Did you feel that training there?
Ooh, 1000%. Bubba, one of my first weeks there, when he was like getting to know me, he's like, put me in the office, started asking me a bunch of questions. What are my goals in this? What was I looking to get out of being a wrestler? And I gave my answers that were mine, right? I was like, he was like, what do you want to get out of this career? How do you want to be remembered? I was like, well, I want to go through a career without ever injuring anybody. Like that was the biggest thing as week one. I was like, that's still very important to me. And, and he's like, what else? And I just, well, okay.
Your dog's fine. It's fine.
My dog's fine now. Thanks. He's recovered. He's doing well.
Good.
Murph. Yeah. Someone just got home, so he's freaking out. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
But he kind of he got me to go through all of my answers that I had as this very new to the business, in the ring for the first time that week, those type of really excited, up there dream type situations. And he's like, you have to take a step back now and remember that you're a part of this business now. It's different. You need to change your mindset. You need to stop looking at it as someone from the outside who's looking at certain things and picking that only. You need to change it to understand that this is how you're going to, if this is how you want to make your livelihood, then you're looking at it as a business. And that changed a lot about how I went into this, because, I was very, just felt like my eyes were covered with dreams. I was very much not looking at a lot of the real life things that come along with this business. And he was very good about making sure that you didn't just get caught in this dream, that you see it, and that you see that it's not a dream anymore, that you're living it. And so now you need to start making these choices. And so 1000%, a lot of, his teachings on psychology and the way you look at the business are invaluable. I'm very grateful for the core learning that I got in the beginning.
So what are some things that you had to look at differently after that conversation with him? Is there things that come to mind that jump out at you?
That's such a good question. Maybe if the CT wasn't so real, I'd have a better answer off the top of my head. I'd be able to remember 6 years ago. But I don't have something for you off the top of my head. I'm so sorry. Because the things that are popping in, it doesn't really apply. Like it does, but it doesn't, because it doesn't hit quite as hard. Because I'm like, oh, well, the way I watch matches, I pick apart, I look at things but that's not really the level in which I changed my mindset. And I can't think of a good.
So did you ever stand across the ring, or maybe be in a locker room with someone that you idolized a lot, that you were having time not marking out?
Yes. I pride myself, well, not pride myself, but I feel like I do a pretty okay job of separating, the character from the person who's in front of you. But every time I've shared a locker room with Masada, I feel like I turn into a middle school girl. I get really not like giggly and giddy, but not really. I just oh, sorry, sir, don't look at me. I'll go the other way. Him and Nick Gage are the two that I've just felt myself be such a I don't want to say mark, because that, just a fan, just that part of I want to ask you questions, but I also don't think I can form a sentence in front of you. So I'm just going to walk the other way. Thank you so much for your service.
Were they everything that you hoped that they could be whenever you've met them? Are they exactly the way that you thought that they would be, or are they just totally different?
No, they're everything I could have hoped for. I haven't, obviously I don't have that relationship with them, so I don't speak to their personal lives, but the way they responded in the locker room and the way they act with everyone back there is just absolutely on par with all of my expectations.
And it's hard, because as fans, when we're at shows, and especially independent wrestling promotions, there's usually a little meet and greet, and you can come up, get souvenirs, you can get your picture taken, you can buy some merchandise. It's still a little bit intimidating sometimes. Even if we've even had somebody on the show, are they going to remember that they were on our show, for one, because they're on 200 different, podcasts? Are they going to be just as nice? Or are they going to be standoffish? And I just think that's real life, though, because people are busy. And, that's why whenever I send out an email and ask anyone if they want to be on the podcast, if they don't, I perfectly understand it. My feelings won't be hurt one bit, because people are busy in their lives, and especially pro wrestlers. You're probably home not hardly at all, during the month. And when you are, that's probably your downtime. And for you to be able to give that to someone, is greatly appreciated, especially for us. But yeah, I mean, wrestlers can be intimidating because, on one hand, it's kind of like if this conversation goes bad, it could go really bad. But so far, I've had just a small few that they'll still say hi, but it's kind of like, hey, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
Like, but, I thought we were friends.
Oh, man. Yeah. But it's just part of the business. And then when I look at it too, my wife can get mad at me sometimes, like, you didn't even say hi to them as they walk past. And we're the same way. And it has nothing to do with superstardom. And I think that's where people need to find that balance.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big supporter of doing away with the handshake heat. I think that this whole generation has too much anxiety and too much depression to be worried about, oh, did I shake their hand? Oh no, having this panic attack of like, did I shake everyone's hand here? What if they think I'm disrespectful? Like, or they're talking and you don't want to be rude. And like, there are so many like little like moments that you're like, oh, would it be more disrespectful if I went or more disrespectful if I didn't? Like, do away, get it all out the door. Like, we say hello, we come in, smile. We had a pandemic. We don't need to shake everyone's hands. We don't need to touch. It's okay. Hey guys. And we're all still fine. And like, that's okay.
Oh, and it's hopefully we're going to get back to the spot where we can just be normal and not have to worry about certain things like that. But at the same time, sometimes it is okay to be a little bit cautious, on certain aspects and have that respect level that if someone wants to fist bump you, you take the fist bump. And if someone doesn't want to touch you at all, you don't try to touch them.
What a beautiful lesson. If someone doesn't want to touch you, then don't touch them.
Then don't touch them. Yeah, absolutely.
That's it. That's just all.
And then I've met people, KiLynn was one of them. She gave me and my wife both a hug, and I was like, wow, I can't believe it, But that was her. That was genuinely her.
Yeah.
And you'll see through that sometimes with a lot of talent because, like I said, it's a job to them. It's not personal. It's their job.
Yeah.
WrestleMania season is upon us, and I would assume that you're very looking forward to WrestleMania, and that's one thing about WrestleMania. It's now become not just about WWE. It's about the independent wrestling community as a whole. And right now, I know that you have some matchups. I think you've got 2 on the docket that I know of, and I know you'll bring your gear to be ready for everywhere else. One of them I want to talk about is your GCW match, Planet Death against Brandon Kirk.
Let's talk about it. I am, beyond excited for this opportunity. One, to kick Brandon's ass because he has been a mosquito to me. I'm hoping that I can kick his ass without him, getting a woman to come save him like he usually does.
Oh, she's done called you out, Casey.
Done called her out, but that's all right because I then get to face her about a week afterwards from when I get to kick her husband's ass. I get to kick her ass. So I'm pretty excited about my run-ins with the Kirks, but a little hesitant about that first one. Because as of right now, I don't think she's going to be at ringside, but it's the Kirks, so fuck them.
Yeah, she'll be around. Casey will be around. She'll be around for sure. And the one thing about Brandon is that he'll bring it, and that's and that's going to be a great matchup. And then when you look at the rest of the weekend, like I said, I'm sure you're going to bring your gear because that's Wrestling 101. Always bring your gear and be ready. Are you planning on attending a couple of shows, and are you going to actually be at WrestleMania to watch?
That's a great question. I haven't fully decided if I was staying until Sunday, just because real life starts on Monday. And so I don't know if I'm going to be able to come down from the high of WrestleMania weekend without at least a day, like before having to go back to real life. I'm just like, hey, I definitely killed this man this weekend. Do you want to talk about it? I had the best. Like, it's not going to translate well. But I am excited for a couple different shows. GCW's The Culture is definitely one of them. AJ Gray always puts on fucking amazing shows. So I'm excited to see that, especially. And Mission Pro Wrestling. That's another one I'm going to be excited to go check out. So, yeah, it's going to be.
I'm actually jealous. I really wish that WrestleMania would come back to the Midwest. I would love for them to come back to Indianapolis and run in the Dome. And then, I've told my wife, I'd just like to go down there and not go to WrestleMania, because I've been to a couple of them, and just go to the independent shows and then come back home and then watch Mania on TV. So
that part. And I'm a grandma, so it gets to a certain hour and I don't want to be falling asleep in the arena. I want to show all of the support and have all of the energies.
So you talked a little bit about going back to the real world afterwards. So what is it like being in the real world with everything that people may know from social media or fans themselves? Do you find it hard to accept that?
Yeah, sometimes. I feel like everyone has that, like, the hangover of this, it's a struggle of being an independent wrestler, having to pay for your dream in a capitalist society. So it gets easier, I guess, but because you learn ways to deal with it and compartmentalize and all of those. But it is difficult sometimes when you're just like, man, I just do not want to go check into or clock into a job when I just got back from driving 16 hours and having a great weekend with my friends. You go to these shows, you have so much fun, and you get to be around all the fans and all this energy, and then you go back and you're like, oh yeah, customer service, this is fun, I like people.
And you mentioned it, because that is one thing. When I go to work, I don't feel like I'm paying to go to work. But for you do have to put in expenses to go to make money. And that has to be mentally draining for someone sometimes, to chase that dream and knowing that you're putting in money to chase the dream. Correct?
I don't find it necessary. I mean, I'm sure, everyone deals with it in different ways. But for me, it's not like exhausting to have to put money in and chase the dream that way. It's exhausting just, living the real life of a capitalist society, having to pay for all of the other things. Like I don't know. It makes me more angry at the system than it does tired of having to chase the dream, if that makes more sense.
I got you. And on April 12th, we mentioned her earlier, Billy Starks, yourself, Mickey Knuckles are going to be at Jeffersonville, Indiana for GirlFight April 12th. So coming back to the places where there were doors.
Might have to bring my own.
May have to bring your own. Do you know who you're wrestling as of now, or is that still not undecided?
I do. Her name is Miss Anika.
Ooh. Have you ever wrestled her before?
I have not. This will be our first time meeting.
Now,
Big boss Anika Makarov.
Now, do you find that challenging to go into a matchup wrestling someone that you have never wrestled before or may have never seen before? Is that kind of a challenging night for you sometimes, or do you find that what wrestling's all about and you find it very exciting?
I do think there is a little bit more anxiety with it, but it's mostly excitement. I love getting to work new people and just, we all are coming up. It's so interesting to me to see how we were trained and how kind of wrestlers, I don't know, how they evolve, what their next evolution is as a Pokemon, and how they started and like kind of understanding how they trained and like getting to find out more about this business that I love and how other people navigate it. So I'm looking forward to kicking her ass. It's going to be I love girl fights. We're gonna tear the shit down, overreact together. Maybe I'll hit up my friend KiLynn King, see if we can get her down to the arena again.
Awesome. Well, before I let you go, I'm gonna do some rapid fire questions with you. Okay. They're just kind of pop cultures. So you're at home on the weekend and you actually don't have to wrestle anywhere. Name a movie that you're going to put in and actually watch that's one of your favorites.
Oh no. So one thing about me is I am very connected to my femininity and emotions. And my favorite movie that I'm going to put on a weekend when it's raining outside and I want to cuddle in with my pup is Pride and Prejudice.
I've never seen it.
Oh man, you're missing out.
No, it looks like something that we would have had to watch in school when they wrote the TV in. It's just, I'm sorry.
Mr. Darcy is about the only man in life I'm still attracted to. When he does that hand flex, oh no, come on. There are going to be lots of listeners that are going to be like, oh, I know exactly what she's talking about. Yes, the hand flex is everything. It's why I watch it. The hand flex.
Mr. I'm going to have to watch it for a hand flex. I never thought I'd have to watch a movie due to a hand flex, but here we go. We're riding down the road. What type of music are we listening to, and what's your favorite song?
So I currently am listening to Bollywood metal. It goes real hard. But my favorite song is Allegheny by Johnny and June Cash, or Johnny and June Carter Cash. So it's a little bit of a spectrum. I'm gonna say that my music taste is a spectrum.
Oh, and I'm that same way. Like if it's a good song, I like it. It don't matter what genre it is. I don't know about some Bollywood metal. I might have to. I'm telling you, you're giving me some research. I'm just gonna have to do.
This next weekend, you're going to be crying to Pride and Prejudice and then rocking out to Bollywood metal.
Yeah, my wife's going to look at me like, don't have Sawyer Wreck on the show no more.
No, she's going to be saying, you need to talk to her more because she's making you into a more
well-rounded person. She'll probably like yeah, for sure. And the last
hand flex.
Yeah, hand flex. Last question. You're at Wrestlemania in the main event. Who saw your Wreck wrestling? All time.
Okay. China.
I like it. Well, like that match a lot.
Yeah, that deep in my heart with Mad Maxine in my corner.
Oh, even better.
Even better.
Absolutely. Well, Sawyer, thanks so much for jumping on here with us tonight. It was greatly appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
Have fun kicking ass and taking names because like I said, it was great seeing you live, and I can't wait to see you again. Yeah. For everyone else out there, make sure you're doing what you need to do. Stay safe because we need wrestling to continue. We need these shows to continue. So everyone do what you need to do. Make sure you're following all the restrictions if they are any of the shows. For myself and Tom, make sure you head over to PWTs, pick up some of our merchandise, and head to Barnes & Nobles and pick up a copy of my book, Independent Road to Wrestler's Journey, 11 Casey Nelson. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate all the support as always, and we will see y'all next week.